Okay, so what I'm going to do in this slideshow is go through it slide by slide and explain to you how to get started with Google Sites. As we go through the slideshow, I'll ask you to pause at different points and give you some tasks to make sure you understand what it is that you've just been shown. So to get us started, the first thing you have to do is actually know how to find and make a new Google site. There are a few ways to do this. The way I do it is I actually type into the Omnibar sites.google.com and /new, and that will take you right to Google Sites. Once you've done it once, your Chrome browser will remember the address, and all you have to do next time is just start typing it. You can also go to Google Drive and click New, and then go down to More, and then you'll be able to find Google Sites. There are other ways. If you can find the waffle icon on any of your different Google applications, it'll also take you to the old sites. What I mean by old sites is the Google updated sites about a year ago. So now if you go to sites.google.com new, it will look like this. What it used to look like, and you can still access it, is the old Google Sites. And this is the icon here for the old Google Sites. It's very easy to switch back and forth between the two. Make sure for this unit that you are using new Google Sites. Old Google Sites will eventually no longer work. Okay, so once you've made a site, there's a little bit of file management that you need and that you need to understand, as well as just understanding where all the tools are. So over here on the left, these are the different names of your file in Google Drive and your website, and then this here is the actual banner title of the first page. Over here, you have your creation tools. So this eye here will allow you to see what your site looks like live. This will get you a link to your site. This will allow you to collaborate with other people. There's a number of different tools hiding under these three dots here. And of course, if you click publish, it'll make your site live. And this down arrow here will give you some options around that. These are your publishing tools. Now you also have creation tools. You can insert different things into your website. You can organize your pages, and you can play around with what your website looks like by picking different themes. So going back to number one first, the site names. The top level here, it'll be called Untitled on yours. This is the document name. You're the only person who will ever see this, and it's how you will see it in Google Drive. So you can give it a name like ICT assignment website for Mr. McCowan or something like that, and you'll be the only person who ever sees that. Now, this site here, this is actually your the name of your website. So if you'll see here, this is the published version of the website, and so whatever goes here is actually showing up at the top of the website. And then finally, this is your page title. This is the eye-catching text that you want to appear at the top of your page. So let's do it. So at this stage, pause this video, go to Google Sites, make yourself a new site, and make a give it a title. Make it about something you find interesting. It can be anything from Pringles to movie stars to a football team. This is just a practice site, so don't worry too much about the topic. Just pick something that you'll have an easy time finding information about, and make sure it has a different document name in Google Drive and a different site name. So pause now, go and try that, and then come back, and we'll continue with the slideshow. Okay, so once you have created your website and you've given it a document name and site name, you might want to put a logo in. Now, with a lot of Google tools, in order to find the actual buttons to press, you need to, they're hiding. So in this particular case, there is an add logo button, but in order to get to it, you need to actually hover over the title, and then you can add a logo. My suggestion, once you click Add Logo, is you can upload images, you can add links to images. The easiest is just to search for an image in Google. And the nice thing about this is that when you do that, Google will only search for images you're allowed to use. So that would be my recommendation for how you find your logo image. You could also try putting the letters PNG in your search, because that will search for PNG image files, which are the ones with transparent backgrounds, which usually looks better. Now, if you hover over your site name, you'll also get a gear icon over here. And that, if you click on that, you can change the navigation for your website. What the navigation is it's where the menus go. So top navigation will put links to your different pages at the top of the site, and side navigation will put links along the side of your site. So there's a few things you can do to get started customizing your site. Now you can also, the first big thing you're going to want to probably do is change the image in the title area. So to do that, you hover over it and you will get a number of options. So here you can change the image. You'll have the same options you did for the logo for how you find that image. If you don't like it, you can reset. You can change the header type. It doesn't have to be as big as it shows here. And then over here on the right are some little twinkly lights. And what will happen when you upload a photo is Google Sites will adjust the readability so that you can read the text. Usually it'll make it darker. You can turn that off if you just click on this. One reason to turn that off is rather than let Google Sites do a lot of the formatting for you, another option for your header would be to make it yourself. And if you click here, it takes you to a web page with a template in Google Drawings that is the size of this header. So you could actually build your whole header in Google Drawings, export it as an image file, and import it in here, and then just delete this text here, and you can customize this image to whichever way you look. So that's an extension task. And I'll just click on this quickly so you can see. But if you click on this button, it'll take you to this website where it takes you step by step through how you can make your own banner template. So I'll leave that up to you whether you decide to try that. Finally, you will want to also play around with themes. You have a lot of different options here. If you click on a theme, you can change the color of the theme. You can customize the color. You can change the font. So pick a nice font that shows up and a theme that you like before you add too much more content to your website. So let's do it again. Pause here. You've already created the site. So now add a logo and a header image to your site. Give it a theme you like and decide on the color and font choice. And then using the insert tools, add some text to the first page and just explain why you picked the topic that you picked. And then once you've done that, come back here and I'll teach you some more things. Okay, so now that you've figured out what your website's going to look like, you will want to add some pages. It's not really very good practice to just put all your information on one page. Usually people want to be able to kind of, find the information that makes sense to them rather than having to sort of sift through a lot of text and stuff on one page. So think of 2 or 3 different topics to do with your main topic, and you'll make a page for each of those. So on the right hand side here, once you click on pages, at the bottom is the Add Pages tab. And one option is just to add the pages and have them all show up like this, one under the other. And if that's the case, you're kind of saying that they're all as important as the next one. But sometimes what you might want to do is you might want to have a page about anything. It could be different types of Pringles. And then underneath here, you might want to have a page for each of the different varieties of Pringles. So those are called subpages. There's two ways to make them. The first way over here, once you've got your page, if you hover over it, 3 dots will appear. And if you click on them, one of your options is to create a subpage. So that's one way you can do it. The other way you can do it is you can just make your pages just like I've done here, but then click on a page, drag it on top of the next page, and it will automatically become a subpage. So those are a few different ways you can make and organize pages. So let's pause again, and I'd like you to add 2 pages about different parts of your topic, and then add 2 subpages to those with more detailed information. Go and do that, then come on back. All right, so now we're ready to start adding content. This is where it gets really fun and interesting. So you've probably already figured out that you can insert a text box. What you may not have realized is that there's different options to the text boxes. So when you hover over a text box and add text, you do get all of your some formatting options, which is nice. But you also get a button here that looks like a painting palette. And if you click on that, that will allow you to change the background of this text box. You can even put a picture in there. It'll give you some other fun options. You can also copy this text box. And these little dots here, this is like a handle for grabbing. So if you grab those, you can move the text boxes around. And these dots here will allow you to resize this blue box. So on the next slide is a little animation of this. So I've created a text box and a second text box. And now I can grab the handles and move them around. And then I can even make this first box smaller and drag the second box up. So now they're actually side by side. So they're like columns, okay? So those are some of the options, and don't forget that paint palette tool as well. There's some really neat stuff that you can do to make your text boxes pop out if you use that. Now, you're going to probably want to add images to your website. So once you click on here, you'll have lots of different options for adding images. By URL, search your albums as your Google Photos albums. And of course, you can add them from Google Drive. So if you've already found the image you like on Google, one of the quickest ways to do it is just to right click on it, copy the image link, and paste it right in here. So you can see down here, that's what I've done. I've taken my puppy picture, pasted the link in here, it comes up, and it can insert. So I'll show you again. Copy the link right there, and then paste it in there. Like I said before, probably searching the images is going to be your quickest way, and the results are labeled for commercial reuse with modification, which saves you accidentally breaking copyright law if you use this option. Your albums will access your Google Photos albums, which could be handy, especially if you've taken pictures of your work or something like that and you want to insert them into a slideshow. And then, of course, you can also insert photos from Google Drive. Now, photo is not the only thing you can insert from Google Drive. So on this right side here, you can go to Insert from Google Drive, and it'll open up a sidebar where you can see your Google Drive. It's not always that easy to find what you're looking for. So what I usually do is whatever document I want to put in my Google site, I open it before I go to the Google site, and then it will show up under Recent. So here's an example of how a document can get put into a Google site. So there's a Google Doc, there's a Google Slides, and there's also Google Sheets down at the bottom. So anything you make in Google Docs can actually become part of your website. The only thing you have to be careful about is that if that by default, your Google Documents can only be seen by you. So if you want other people to be able to see them on your website, you have to go to the sharing settings, the sharing button, and you need to change the sharing settings so that your Google document is either public on the web or viewable by anyone with the link. Ask me about that if you need any more help with that. Okay, so this is the last pause that I'll ask you to do for this video. So you now should have your pages. It's time to add text. So first of all, I'd like you to pick one page and see if you can add 2 columns of text to one of the pages of your site. Play around with the palette and the color options. I'll challenge you to see if you can insert an image into the back of it as well, and see how that goes. But try adding 2 columns. You'll have to resize the blue boxes and move them around to do that. Also, try finding a photo on Google to insert, but insert it by inserting the URL. So right-click on the photo, copy the link, and insert the URL. Finally, go to Google Drive, open up Google Slides, and add a whole bunch of different photos about your topic to that Google slideshow. You could just make 1 or 2 photos a slide if you like. Don't stress too much about it being a perfect slideshow, because really what I'd like you to do then is see if you can figure out how to embed that slideshow by inserting it from Google Drive into the home page of your site. And once you've done that, well, okay, I'm going to show you one more cool trick here, and that is YouTube. Once you've added the slideshow, see if you can add a few YouTube videos to your site. So you can go here and embed YouTube and put YouTube into your site, but you have to search for the video directly in Google Sites. Your other option would be to go find the video you want to put in on YouTube, copy the address, and then you click on this button up here, Embed URL, and that will allow you to insert the video. So I'll show you a couple different, last step, and I haven't got a slide for this, but once you've gotten here, see if you can add a couple of YouTube videos to your website.